When observing a fractured society, the intuitive question is to ask why a holy God allows evil to persist. Systematically, the exact requirements of biblical justice suggest a different focus. The true paradox is why a holy God allows beauty, goodness, or human life to exist at all after the fall. Theologian Wayne Grudem outlines the unseen operating system that sustains this fallen world. He defines it as common grace, posing the central question: what are the undeserved blessings that God gives to all people, both believers and unbelievers? This specific mechanism is entirely distinct from salvation. It is a universal, unmerited provision granted to humanity at large. Because the wages of sin is death, every breath taken by a human being today is a theological anomaly. The ongoing existence of humanity depends entirely on this specific category of grace. To understand how this works, we must correct a widespread error regarding total depravity. The common definition of this doctrine suggests unbelievers are as absolutely evil as they could possibly be in every moment. This creates a false dichotomy. It forces Christians to either deny the observable reality that non-believers do good things, or compromise their own theology to accommodate that secular goodness. What this misunderstanding ignores is God's active restraining hand. Look at the demonic realm, a domain entirely given over to irrationality and destruction. Human society provides a clear contrast, because God actively intervenes to put restraints on human conduct. The theological boundary here is critical. We must separate meritorious good, which earns eternal salvation, from civic good, which maintains a functioning society. Total depravity means every faculty of a human is touched by sin. Common grace is the structural force that prevents that sin from reaching its maximum destructive potential. The first concept to establish is the strict legal liability of sin. Based on the ruling in Genesis 2, God's justice requires immediate, eternal separation from experiencing any good from Him. Think of this as a defaulted loan with a total asset seizure clause. The breach of contract demands immediate liquidation of the debtor. Yet we observe the paradox of delay. Millions of people do not die and go to hell the exact moment they sin. They continue to live, enjoying countless blessings in this world. God issues a stay of execution. The full penalty of the law is postponed, delaying the final judgment. This delay maintains the debt while providing the precise mechanical space for human history to unfold. We can map this intervention by looking at the taxonomy of grace. After the fall, justice is demanded, but a parallel track is initiated: common grace. This diagram shows two distinct operations. Common grace acts as a wide, universal umbrella, a civic grant given to everyone. Saving grace is a specific doorway, a family inheritance reserved for the elect. We can separate them by treating them like security clearance levels. They differ in their results, their recipients, and their direct source. Grudem notes a vital distinction regarding the source. Christ's death did not earn forgiveness for unbelievers. Therefore, common grace flows indirectly from the cross. God delays judging the world primarily to save some sinners through the death of His Son. Common grace operates as a universal level 1 clearance, keeping the physical and social world running. It is entirely distinct from the level 5 clearance of eternal salvation. This level 1 clearance applies directly to the physical realm. Like a landlord maintaining the utilities in an evicted building, God provides for a world in active rebellion against Him. This chart models an absolute value function of divine provision. Whether the human input is morally positive or morally negative, the output generated by God, sunshine and rain, remains positive. We see the unmerited physical abundance of this grace in every harvest, completely independent of the farmer's spiritual state. It also extends to the intellectual realm. Satan is the father of lies, fully committed to irrationality. But human logic, though acting like a cracked lens, is not totally shattered. It can still transmit truth. John 1:9 describes Jesus as the true light that enlightens every man. In His role as creator, He issues a general revelation, granting all people the ability to observe and understand facts about the universe. Think of this intellectual grace as a universal constant added to an equation. It stabilizes human observation, preventing our cognitive faculties from descending into total erratic noise. The food humanity eats and the logic required to harvest it are both built on borrowed capital from the Creator. This leads directly to human achievement. God provides the physical laws of the universe as open-source code. All science and technology carried out by non-Christians is a direct result of common grace allowing them to read that code. When secular scientists make incredible discoveries or engineer new materials, they are successfully harnessing the strict rules God placed in nature. Finally, this grace governs the moral realm. Romans 2 describes an inward sense of right and wrong, a conscience that bears witness, where conflicting thoughts accuse or excuse behavior. The conscience functions as an algorithmic boundary. It acts as a societal governor, establishing laws that protect life and property, preventing the pressure system of human sin from redlining into anarchy. Unsaved people absolutely do good in society, but we must evaluate it correctly. On a horizontal civic ruler, a philanthropist's actions hold massive value. On a vertical, divine ruler, measuring justification before God, the counterfeit currency of civic morality registers at 0. Christ outlines the divine standard in Luke 6. Love your enemies and do good, for he is kind to the ungrateful and the selfish. God's goodness expects nothing in return. Human achievement and civic laws offer clear evidence of a divine grace actively restraining a total social collapse. When we map the complete taxonomy, the fall, the delay of justice, and the resulting physical, intellectual, and moral graces, the theological scale of daily life becomes clear. This taxonomy applies directly to the grocery store. Every shelf of food is a physical encounter with unmerited abundance, a tangible result of the stay of execution granted to a fallen world. Driving an automobile to work utilizes open-source physics decoded by human intellects that God intentionally preserved from total irrationality. Ordinary routines act as evidence of a sustained universe. They prove God actively holds back judgment to grant humanity another day. If common grace sustains the secular world, to what extent should Christians actively bless and build up secular institutions? When non-believers unlock the mysteries of the physical universe, does that science ultimately glorify human intellect or the Creator's laws? And if your very existence is a stay of execution, how does the delay of judgment change what you do with your time tomorrow? For more rigorous doctrine translated into visual intuition, subscribe to Visualized Theology.